see how this second map plays up, because this map does have a lot of experience being played out for PogChamp. And Joe, they've played it inside of their community leagues, whether it was ESA, CCS qualifiers, most notably recently EPS esports. Shout out to that league. They're honestly the next big thing outside of CCS. CCS had been down for quite a while, for months on end, before they finally made a comeback. Not exactly sure what happened with there. You obviously know more than I do, given that you're an insider on it. But yeah, Joe really ran the tables through EPS last season in season 3. So I'm excited that they've made it here into Challenger League, and they made a huge statement back on Theme Park.
They absolutely did. A statement that very few people saw coming. There are some absolutely dedicated Joe Esports fans that were absolutely correct in their predictions that Joe would win the first map. But in such a decisive victory too, even though the scoreline was 7-3, again, it felt more dominant than that because that entire first half was completely swept by Joe Esports. So now we're going to see a defense here down on Garage Cafeteria, and a Mira brought as well. So Mira usually banned. This time she has not been banned, so of course we're going to see her quite a bit. Now if there's any map to not ban Mira on, Consulate is definitely one of them, because she's absolutely very useful on this site here. She's decently useful if you are going for an admin hold up on the second floor sites, but then you have the lobby site and the split site that don't really favor Mira quite as much. So I can see letting Mira through for these sorts of for a map like this.
Yeah, a lot of people and a lot of competitive players have said that Mira's only usefulness on this map is mostly just down below in the garage, and that's it. But as Click is mentioning in the chat right now, yeah, it's looking like night mode down in Consulate on daytime. So garage wall is going to get opened up by Trippin. One of the 2 exothermic charges is going to get blasted away and put to rest that metal utility, as well as a second charge. So they've got instant access on through into the garage for the time being. Goyo's shield's going to get ripped apart here, and it's going to be a big waste of utility coming out from the attackers and as well as the defenders. One thing to note, that mirror inside of the cafeteria looking through the garage towards the garage doors, is that the wall is reinforced. Normally you would see teams try to leave that as a soft mirror, but for this time being, it's going to be Joe who's using a crouch to mirror, but they're having the wall solidified so that they can't get wall banged on top of the mirror.
Yeah, and there was no sort of breach denial on the side of Joe Esports defense either. They didn't bring a mute or a bandit or a Kaid. And usually for this map we see a Kaid or a bandit so that you can trick the main wall, and as long as the rest of your team holds piano, you can be pretty safe in doing so. But Prod gets the first headshot onto Ollie, starting this round out as the attackers just immediately execute onto site. Click's trying to flank around. Ghost is sitting just a little bit under it, not getting shot up by those smokes. He's able to just sit there the entire time, rethinking drops. Ghost takes him out, and Ghost gets 3. That's a flawless round for PogChamp as they immediately execute, and that is what happens when the garage wall is completely free.
Well, with a map that's a lot more comfortable for PogChamp, you would mostly expect for that to happen. Ghost coming massive there for his team, which is completely opposite of what we saw on Theme Park for him last map. So great signs to see here coming out for PogChamp, and although it is the first round, they really ran through Joe right there on round number 1. So not going back down to garage, we will be heading back. Well, we will be heading over into the console office and meeting room. Potential 6 pick to come out here from Geo. We'll have to see. Nope, he's gonna lock in that castle, and we will be keeping the mirror this time around.
Yeah, so every now and again we do see a mirror here up on this site, and usually what that's used for is to hold down admin office, because that's a very popular place for attackers to attack from, and if the defenders can keep them out of there, then it becomes suddenly very hard for the attackers to really get an angle. You kind of have to go up through the balcony, play the windows on console, yellow or spiral stairs, but all of those have angles that the defenders can shut them down on, and they're much easier for roamers to rotate on. If you're in admin office, you're pretty comfortable up there. Unless there's a pulse trying to see for you up from below, then there's really no big rotation that the defenders can use to flank around you on admin. So it's usually a very strong point of tension. And the other place we sometimes see a mirror played is in this connector here between sites looking into console's office. But for this setup, we actually see one looking into bathroom. So I guess trying to deny that angle, maybe playing more of a cheeky sort of angle onto yellow stairs might be able to help rethinking out there. I'm definitely interested to see how that Mira window works out.
Yeah, you just saw right now, I believe that was Ollie 11 hitting the castle barricade because it takes 12 hits to go ahead and bust it down. So he's just going to premeditate it and make sure it's easy enough to, you can just hit the castle barricade and instantly move on through without any trouble. Drone, I believe, coming in from the buck of Prod over by, I believe, the copy room windows. Now swinging on in is going to be Chala on the gridlock now. Is there's going to be... No? Is there one inside of the break room? I don't think there's one inside of break room. No. That was going to be the mute of Wimpy rotating back from long desk.
And so far we have a pretty anchor-heavy side of the defense here. Not a lot of presence on the first couple of floors, so rotations onto the attackers aren't going to be super strong. But when you're giving up admin office and they don't have a lot of utility over there, then it definitely makes more sense, because as you can see, the attackers have already made this half of the map their home. And again, your roamers aren't really going to be able to do much to flush people out of admin once they already have control. There are only two ways to enter into admin. They're both on the same side of the map, so it's very easy to watch those angles. Instead, we see people playing the mirror windows and playing a more anchor-heavy style. And at this point, it comes down to PogChamp and how well they utilize their utility to push in. They have one frag grenade left on Prod. Filthy has two of his concussions left, but for the most part, that's all of their straight-up push power that they have. Of course, they have Gridlock to watch the stairs rotations with her track stingers. A couple of shots traded around through the balcony, but neither of them going to be able to snag a kill into whoever's in meeting room right now.
It's going to be Geo falling here. There goes the castle. Opening pick here is Wimpy will refrag, onto Prod. There goes your buck, and a lot of soft destruction being taken out. And I believe you're only set of nades here, so now it's going to be on to the rest of PogChamp. Reaping coming up for a flank, sees one over by the small office. Wimpy getting a second pick here for himself onto Trippin. There goes your diffuser, swinging in from Connector. Oh my goodness, with the shotgun in hand. Down goes Ghost inside a Connector. But Chala is able to refrag. There are now an effective 1v2 here for Filthy. He'll have to clutch up for his team to win out the second round in a row for PogChamp. With less than 20 seconds remaining, it's not looking likely. He's aware of one down below, and Teller's running out on time. It's going to be the Jaeger of rethinking down below, as Clicks is on the smoke, sitting inside his sight, tossing out those toxic babes. Filthy going to get spotted out on the default cam, not having enough time to swing around and shoot it. And with time running out, and the ADS in hand, Filthy is just going to have to save his life there. And Joe will fight back, answer back, and win out round number 2 at an effective 1-1 scoreline.
And Joe Esports on that defense, I like what they were doing. They played that roam or anchor heavy style where they basically gave up control of admin office and made PogChamp come to them. And that's something that I don't think PogChamp were really expecting there, because they forced so much of their resources, so much of their manpower on playing that balcony right outside of the meeting room. And you know, when you're doing that, it makes you pretty susceptible to runouts and potentially some peaks as well, and that's how Prod ended up going down at the start of that round before he had used a second grenade too. They would have really wanted that. So I think what I would have wanted to see from PogChamp is, I think they should have sort of doubled down on the fact that they had admin under control. They post someone up on outside of the window on connector and just hold that rotation. You don't need a peek. You can hang upside down, you can shoot at people's feet as they try to run through connector, and just sort of hold down these angles, because when you have control of admin, you essentially have control of long desk, as long as you can peek around the corner and potentially get any frag there. And as we saw, someone from PogChamp was also holding down the rotation from Spiral. So at that point, you have so many different angles covered that you just need to focus on clearing out meeting hall or the projector room in general. And I think they got a little bit too overzealous, and we saw a couple of them jump in. Whoever was playing connector ended up jumping in, and I think that was a little bit too overzealous of them.
Yeah, I glanced over at the Joe cord just right now, and there's at least 20 people watching in a watch party for Joe Esports, and if the support is not through the roof for this team, it's absolutely insane to just see, because these guys have been around for this game for a while in the underage community, and for them to come around and make CL their first run through, and it's just been wild. for the time being, I believe that's going to be rethinking. No, I believe it's going to be Ollie sitting inside a copy room. Right now, Prod's going to be repelled outside on the copy room window. Ghost going to find the opening pick, however, onto rethinking. There goes your Vigil. That's a really good start here to come out for PogChamp.
Yeah, and we haven't talked yet about the fact that we're seeing the split site Visa being played, Visa Archives, instead of going back down to Garage, which Joe Esports lost the first round. So they could potentially go back down there. It's not locked out as a site, so maybe they're trying to catch PogChamp off guard, but it does seem like they have a pretty standard strat here. They're running Mute Monzi Vigil, opening all the hatches, and what that does is basically deny information, hold off on time, and have very easy rotations back to site so that your roamers, as soon as they take out that time, they can be back on site and help the rest of the team out. But Filthy does get a second kill, and that leaves us down with a 3v5, as PogChamp are looking in control of this round so far, but Joe Esports do still have pretty good positioning, and they do have one roamer left over.
Filthy made his way in, and Click's gonna find the pig frag onto Prod. Meanwhile, Chala falls here to Filthy, an effective 3v3. Filthy answering back here onto Ollie. Advantage now in favor of PogChamp. Click's still down below. You do have another one rotating up above with Wimpy, trying to work around these track stingers deployed by the gridlock of Chala. Now you still have Ghost up above, crouch walking his way in through admin. Wimpy just awaiting this push to come around from Ghost. Things are trying to come out here to try to prevent this plant from going down from PogChamp, but the C4 is gonna miss and deal a little bit of damage, but Wimpy's able to frag onto Ghost now, up above inside of admin. He has control, looking through into Teller's. 40 seconds remain here for Joe, pulling up the super shorty, making sure that no one's close to him, but there goes Clicks down below, and the plant's gonna start to come down below anytime, any second here from PogChamp inside of Archives. Tripping halfway through, 2 seconds left on that plant cycle, and Wimpy will have to clutch up in a 1v2 with very low HP, and 2 fully kitted members here from PogChamp. He starts to make his descent now, heading to the first floor, in through Teller's hallway, gonna make his move into the boiler room as he goes ahead for the drop down, just waiting. They hear the drop coming out from Wimpy, sitting now inside of Electric. Sees the head of one, doesn't react to it, and Filthy is there on top of the server rack, takes care of Wimpy, trading it back. It's gonna be a 2-1 scoreline here for PogChamp.
Yeah, so at this point, PogChamp are looking like they're definitely more comfortable on this map than they were on Theme Park, and it certainly shows, as their attacks have been a lot more standard. They've been able to push through and hold the proper angles, aside from, again, that second round where they got a little bit overzealous. But overall, yeah, this team has been playing this map quite often in the past. Again, they have some Pro League experience on this map, and we haven't really seen much change to Consulate outside of things that make it easier for the attackers to get to the building without being spawn peeked. Those are the only real major changes we've seen to Consulate for a very long time. So at this point, it just comes down to how well can you adapt new operators to this existing site, and it seems like PogChamp are pretty comfortable with it. Right now, we're seeing Go taken on their next cafeteria site, and all 3 charges are used toward the garage wall. It's something that I think they're definitely going all in on that sort of strategy. They don't have any hard breach deny again, so Trippin is going to be able to get that wall open pretty much immediately, which is something that I think is questionable, because the first round, that's part of the reason why that defense fell apart so easily for Joe Esports. So maybe they have a different sort of plan going into this, where they take account of that. I think having 3 Ghost Shields in front of the garage definitely helps. But the question is that going to be enough? Because last time, PogChamp just kind of pushed right through it.
Yeah, from what we can see here, it looks to be that Wimpy might be changing up his strategy for himself this time around, and be playing alongside the white band here to try to fight against any attackers that might be trying to swing and possibly go for an early peek into the garage. Who knows? We'll have to find out with this round now. Filthy currently top fragging for his team alongside Ghost at a 4-0 scoreline. But Wimpy ready, tossing out a C4. Oil Shield's gonna get popped off. He'll take a little bit of damage onto Filthy, taking him down to about half HP. And you also got Rethinking protecting him from the yellow stairs over by pipes.
The second wall is going to get opened right here. Again, no hard breach deny, so this is pretty trivial work for the attackers. And at this point, they have a similar amount of control that they had last time. There is some vertical control, however, on the side of Joe Esports, as we see Geo in piano. He's ready, but there is a drone spotting him out right now. They know about it, so hopefully Trippin Is he going to try to challenge this angle? No, it seems like he's going to try to take out a Maestro Cam, which is pretty smart. But yeah, it's going to be hard for them to actually push into site with Geo watching this open floor there, unless someone goes in and tries to flush him out of Piano Room, because it is a very strong position for the defenders. And usually we see attackers clear that a lot faster, but it seems like PogChamp are pretty much all-inning on this garage push. They have one member of the team upstairs trying to flush out the roamers, but that's about it.
Yeah, as you mentioned before, Geo has been droned out, and Proj is going to be waiting for a peek to come around. Geo going for a pre-fire, aware that one is over on the side of the vending machine. He'll take care of Chala, but Proj is there to take care of Geo with the refrag now, an effective 4v4. Just above a minute remains here. You got John Gupta Giguardo. I'm sorry, not Giguardo. Mr. Gupta, John rethinking. So, on pipes, trying to progress around, and coming up massive here for his team, almost finding a second for himself, whipping out the pistol, but Ollie and Clicks are there to take care of PogChamp. Second time around on the garage defense, working massively in spades here for Joe Esports. Unfortunate for Ghost, not able to run away from the deadly toxic babes tossed out by Clicks in time, and Joe Esports tying this game up yet again.
It seems like Joe Esports, the main switch in strategy they had this time around compared to the very first defensive round they had, where they got basically rolled over on the same site, was that they made sure that all of the Goyo charges were front and center right in front of the garage door. That made it a lot harder for the attackers to push in, and critically, I think, was Clicks. I think he was also playing Smoke the first round. He wasn't nearly as aggressive on Smoke as he was before. Last time we saw him push up over pipes and try to get a frag from that angle there, and he was completely exposed there, so it was easy to take him out. But this time around, we saw his utility came in clutch toward the end right there, smoking out one person, downing him, taking him out, and denying space for a couple of the other attackers. So I think him playing farther back and just making sure that he gets the timing correctly, gets callouts from his team to chuck a toxic babe out at the perfect time, really helped seal that round, as well as, again, with these Goyo shields.
Joe's adaptability there that time around was really nice to see coming out from them. They did not get rushed and get faded at all from their, as what we saw from their first go around on Cafeteria, which what we saw in round number 1. And it's nice to see a team that's able to adapt this well and this quickly, because if a team's not able to do that, then obviously they're not going to be able to survive as well as you would have hoped. So for Joe being as quote-unquote inexperienced compared to the members of PogChamp are, they're putting up a really good fight here against PogChamp.
Yeah, we're still 2-2, and, you know, going into this matchup before even seeing the first map, I think a lot of people would put this in favor of PogChamp more than a 2-2, certainly. But Joe Esports, again, they have shown up on the first map, and they're starting to show up here too, though not quite to the same degree. But the fact that they are able to keep in lockstep with PogChamp, again, players that have played this map several times in Pro League, and even after that as well, it's definitely a good showing for them, being such a young and new team, like Uzumaki's been mentioning all day pretty much.
Yeah. Just to give you guys a quick update, if you're not watching Stream A, it's currently 3-1 in favor of Life is Pain on Cafe. Life is Pain is on defense right now, with Okami on attack. It's not really looking good for Okami in their first set of matches here in Challenger League. 7-4 loss to come out on Coastline last map, and currently sitting at a 3-1 scoreline against Life is Pain. Life is Pain, otherwise known as X-Rise, look really strong here in this season so far.
Yeah, and that's definitely one of the two teams that people have most had their eyes on at the start of the season, so it is definitely nice that they are winning out their first match. As we turn our attentions back toward this map and we see a little bit of a darker Consulate here than usual, we can see that so far the attackers haven't gotten a lot of space yet. Minute and 15 seconds left on the board, everyone is still alive, but if you take a look at the attacker positions, they, for the most part, aren't really in the building yet. They're holding a couple of these angles, they have admin, but overall they haven't made too much space for themselves. As we can see, they're just holding angles. 1 minute left, still plenty of time to execute, but they do want to start rotating around, holding different angles if they want to make full use of this time. Filthy is going to find a headshot onto Geo, and that's the opening kill of the round. Going to allow them to That was a very aggressive peek, but it doesn't quite work out for Ollie as two people were watching that angle. Trippin ends up taking him out.
This is a possible good flank to come here from Rethinking. As you see him rotating out from Cafeteria, he has an opportunity to come up the stairs, and I don't know if Chala has track stingers deployed over on the side of Visa stairs, but right now that's a great shot from Wimpy to take care of Ghost, trying to work their way back in, but you do have Rethinking down below sitting on the spiral staircase. There is one inside a lobby. Can he find one? He'll get shot in the back by Filthy. Great coverage from the Zofia there, and the Evil Eye is going to get taken care of by Trippin as he's starting to plant that diffuser, but he'll get taken care of by Clicks. What a shot, and Chala and Wimpy coming alive here for 3. Time running out, Chala having no time to plant, Wimpy rotating into the bathroom, and Joe went out their second round in a row.
Man, Wimp and Clicks just completely turning that round on its head. PogChamp looked like they were in control, but immediately 3 quick kills and then just leaving one member left on the board. Even though she had the diffuser, it definitely wasn't enough as the time was running out. She had to go for that peak, and unfortunately, Joe Esports just played that very well in the clutch stages of that round. So beautiful frags by the side of Clicks and Wimpy getting 2, I think, headshots with the TCSG shotgun. It's unreal what this guy can do. We saw him run through some of the rounds on the first map, and he's starting to warm up this map too. If he keeps on this momentum, then Joe Esports might run away with it.
Yeah, Wimpy is honestly probably overlooked compared to players that are. He's honestly better than some players, in my honest opinion, that are currently in Pro League even. I full-heartedly believe that Wimpy is a high caliber player, and he's really showing his capabilities here on Joe. He's the hard carry for Joe right now. He has as many frags as the rest of his team combined.
That's quite a scoreline, and the first map spelled a pretty similar deal too, as we saw him clutch out 2 rounds in a row, and it was the first 2 rounds on top of that. As we turn our attentions toward the current defense, we're seeing another Console's office and projector defense. Actually, no, sorry, it's Piano Lobby is going to be the defensive site for this time around, but you hold it in a pretty similar way that you hold a Console's office defense, because there is such an emphasis on the vertical play on this map, especially since most of the floor between the first floor and the second floor is breakable, and especially all of the floor in both of the bomb sites. So if you don't clear out the second floor first, then as an attacker, you pretty much have no safe spot to plant. At any moment, a defender could open up with any of the several shotguns that they have, open up part of the floor, and take you out from there.
First minute coming to a close pretty soon here. You got Geo, I believe, yeah, on the Maestro. We're over on yellow stairs, and the Mozzie, excuse me, of Wimpy gonna make a quick rotation down below into the piano room. And with the CEO bomb site having been won, we're back. We're heading for our first time into lobby, which is going to be a pretty interesting showcase to see here for Joe on their defense. Right now, you got Trippin just joining out admin. He saw that it was clear, sees that the admin hatch is opened. For the time being, Prod just droning out, sees the Jaeger down below, or actually over on yellow stairs, and he'll give that information on to his team.
And so far, 1 minute and 30 seconds have been burned on the clock, and the attackers barely have control over the second floor. We still see plenty of roamers up here, so they might have to speed up their game if they're looking to go for any sort of execute over toward the site. Over on Yellow Stairs, Rethinking is pretty much completely unchallenged so far, and Yellow Stairs is a very strong position to be in because you control the rotations on that entire side of the map. On top of that, the Console's office is the location directly above Piano, that's right next to Yellow Stairs, and so he can basically run a tear over on this side of the map. He definitely needs to be flushed out of there if PogChamp want to make a play for site anytime soon.
Geo taking a little bit of damage, trying to cross over from the benches to yellow stairs. He's got 2 members to worry about, but Wimpy is able to retreat into the bomb site as well. Less than a minute remains, Toxic Babe getting tossed out, but Chala is there to find Rethinking. Currently sitting inside of Antechamber is going to be the smoke. Massive picks coming through here from both sides, but the advantage is still in favor of PogChamp here, as 35 seconds remain in the round. But Trippin Yes, off of the plan as Click starts to rotate up into the circle. That's he'll take care of Trippin, falling down through the hatch, and Wimpy sitting inside of Anti. Prod having to retrieve that diffuser, and now Wimpy just waiting for Prod to come around as Clicks will start to retreat up those Visa stairs. C4 getting baited out, but that'll be a big pick, and Clicks takes care of Ghost as well. Joe with 3 in a row. Massive performances here coming out from Joe, and they'll rise up to the occasion in a 4-2 split. The flank watch not there, no flank drone apparent, and Joe dominating PogChamp here in their opening half, 4-2.
And what a great C4 to cancel the plant. Even though he got up off of the plant, it still wasn't quite enough to get away from that beautiful play over on their side. And of course, the roam play from Clicks was very strong in that as well, going for a bit of a late flank, killing whoever was upstairs. I think that was Ghost who was trying to watch the angle there. But really good communication on the side of Joe Esports as well, because in that situation, a lot of times someone who is playing in the bathroom would push out and go for the frag on whoever was planting. But since the callouts were there that Ghost was watching the hatch from above, there was no way he could exit through that doorway without getting shot by Ghost. So he goes for the C4 play instead. Meanwhile, there's a flank all the way around to take him out. Just really good play, really good coordination on the side of Joe Esports. And coordination is one of the things that I really like to see from CL teams, because a lot of times we see some crazy good fraggers in CL. But one thing that we sometimes lack are the overall macro game plays that we come to know and love from PL, and to be able to see some of that coordination shine through here is definitely a good sign.
Definitely indeed. Hopefully for this half, PogChamp have a little bit more success, because what we saw on defense on Theme Park, man, that was a pretty tough sight to see if you're trying to go for PogChamp, because losing 6 rounds in a row on Theme Park on defense, that's not something that should be taken with a grain of salt. That's pretty impressive for Joe to have done. And the only defense round that was won was in round number 11 actually round number 10, excuse me, with Joe, because it was 7-3. But the time being, there is going to be no breach denial again, or not again, I should say, but this time from PogChamp, they're also not bringing any breach denial. So the Thermite from Clicks, he'll be able to breach on open the garage wall. But right now, the Mozzie sitting inside of Piano, he's getting droned out, getting flashed out, and naded will flush him into antechamber as he retreats over, bouncing back and forth, and hopefully the buck here from Geo is able to spot him out.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to flush him out. He has already backed off, but a peek coming in from Wimpy, he's going to be able to hold the rotation out through bathroom as long as he holds this site here. But we do see Chala coming around to potentially challenge the angle with Jaeger, no less. Very good gun on his side, so he might be able to win this gunfight if he goes for it. But so far, Joe Esports are playing this pretty passively. And at this point, they still have 1 minute 30 seconds left on the clock, so they can definitely play this passively and wait for any sort of overzealous play by the defenders here. So since the garage wall is already open, we're seeing some extra emphasis put down on Piano Room. And I think they give the go-ahead that it's clear, but we see the Mozzie Filthy. He's roaming back toward Piano Room. He might try to challenge the window. No, he's just going to stay in antechamber for the moment. But as soon as he hears the rappel go down, he might be able to find a frag. He actually goes down. Ollie pushes up through yellow stairs and takes him out, and that is a lot of map control for the attackers, even though it's just 1 kill.
Rightly so, but you also have burned off 2/3 of the round here, but the Buck can finally go up above and start wreaking havoc onto the bomb site. C4 gets blasted, and that'll take care of Geo. Massive pick to come here from Trippin, as that's the Buck dead. Fortunately for Geo, it's sitting at a 1-7 scoreline for the time being, but he just hasn't had that much of a good game today. For right now, 45 seconds remain on the clock. They are aware of members outside of the garage peeking on over. It's going to be the Thermite from Clicks just waiting, trying to see if he can find an opening into the Piano Room. But Ollie with the double kill here, taking care of Prod. There goes your Romai behind White Van. Now the advantage is back in the hands of Joe. You have Wimpy up above on that gridlock, Ray thinking able to take care of Ghost. Trippin rotating around, trying to see if he can toss up a C4, possibly. Ollie taking a lot of damage onto him, but Chala's there for the refrag. The plant will successfully go down, and now Trippin and Chala trying to find their way to work over towards this diffuser encounter. But there goes Clicks, able to take care of Trippin pretty easily, and the toughest retake in the entire game of Rainbow Six Siege is going to be in the hands of Chala in this 1v3. Sees the men go prone on the white stairs. He won't be able to find that other frag, and there goes Ollie, able to clean it up up, and another round in a row, yet again 4 for Joe.
Good game sense by Ollie. He knew exactly where to look, but good game sense from Chala. He knew exactly where to look, but unfortunately for him, Ollie is on his game today and gets the frag before he could even react. And so Ollie, really the standout for that round. We keep going back and forth between Ollie and Wimpy, seeing them clutch round after round. Though that one wasn't necessarily a clutch, but he managed to get, I think, 3 or 4 frags in that round. Clix has been, of course, showing up himself as well, but overall, yeah, Joe Esports have been playing incredibly well today, already on 5-2 here on Consulate, and they're on attack, and they're starting out their attack really well. Usually the first defense is the one the defenders win, but so far today, we're just sort of turning all of the usuals on their head.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Right now, Joe, oh man, they have been absolutely stellar here. It's been the duo of Clix and Wimpy. Wimpy 10-3, Clix 8-3. They've been so vocal and prominent here for their team respectively. It's really interesting to see how PogChamp is struggling this hard against this team. Because you look at the experience that PogChamp has, and I know that I repeat myself, but it's just so astonishing to see Joe being able to rise up to the occasion and really put a dent into the mindset of PogChamp, sitting at a 5-2 scoreline. I don't think many people saw this coming, especially how Theme Park went.
Attacker's objective is to
Yeah, and winning this match in a 2-0 is definitely going to put PogChamp's name on the board, and a lot of people are going to put them in contention for one of the top spots here on CL, which is huge. You know, these guys were relatively unknown before this. They were playing in mostly the leagues for players who haven't turned 18 yet, but of course now they're all able to play, and so far they've been showing up big time. As we turn our attentions toward this next defense, overall we see a Doc and a Pulse are 2 of the main differences that I see so far here. The Pulse really good for vertical play, of course, and the Doc, he actually stims himself back up as he gets down once, but he is actually just going to go straight down by Wimpy this time. Headshot onto him. He's not able to make use of his other utility, and that was maybe a little bit of an over-aggressive play by Trippin there.
One thing I wanted to point out with rethinking what he was doing on that rappel, he only shot 1 bullet into the barricade, so I believe it was the Doc that was around there, possibly with Trippin. He was trying to see if he can find an angle, but for the time being right now, the Repulsive Prod is going to go ahead and rip down the front door of Lobby. He's just going to try to see if he can find any information with this cardiac sensor. But for the remaining members of Joe right now, they're kind of a little bit all over the second floor right now. There doesn't really seem to be any kind of presence on the second floor outside of Chala and Ghost. So the information game is going to be really crucial here for PogChamp. Now Filthy using his shotgun to create a hole to look at the console office windows. I like this idea coming in from Filthy, but we've already entered into the second half of the round here. Flashbangs are coming out. You have the Thermite over on Death Balcony, and the smoke here from Ghost is in a really tough spot if the Thermite can peek around in time.
And so since this is Gio's going to get smoked out a little bit, and he's out of frag grenades too, critically. So at this point, Ghost, as long as he's been counting... Oh my god, he gets the headshot anyway. I was going to say there's no chance of him getting fragged behind that counter there, but if he goes for the peek and gets it, then more power to him. And that brings his team back into the running a little bit more. But Clix actually answers it immediately as he tries to rotate around onto the stairs. The drop comes out. He has Diffuser down, but it's not going to matter as Joe Esports, Ollie peeks around the corner, takes out Prod, and Joe Esports... Wow, have they forced match point here?
Hashtag Joe up, ladies and gentlemen. Joe up. They are 1 round away from winning out map number 2. Oh my goodness. This is an absolutely insane series. And if Joe were to win the 7-2, they might just be the scariest team next to X-Rise in this season. But granted, it's only day 1. It's only day 1. It could just be that PogChamp are having a pretty tough day, and you know, obviously so. It's really been apparent that Wimpy and Clix are really putting a dent here in the forces of PogChamp, and Ollie too. Ollie's really been stepping up and rethinking. He's been coming up clutch with some frags as well. Gio attributing as well, just slightly, not as much as the rest of the team, but still. Joe, absolutely insane performance coming out from Wimpy, especially tonight. His CG is going to look really nice tonight.
And even though Gio's only got 1 kill, there's absolutely something to be said for a Buck player, specifically a Buck player, who's at the right place at the right time and doing what he needs to be. Because the sheer fact that you can open up the vertical play for a site puts so much stress on the defenders. You don't die until you use, say, 10, 20 or so skeleton key shots, then you have already displaced the defenders. If you die at that point, then of course you lose the gun, but you still have that extra map control. You still have the chance to catch a defender off guard if you're peeking, if one of your other teammates were to peek through there. And you're also keeping the defense on the back foot, where suddenly they have to worry about, okay, can I stand here? Is there anywhere vertically that they can kill me from? And so it definitely can't be understated the amount of pressure not even just a Buck player that gets frags, but a Buck player who does what his job is and gets that extra map control is.
Yeah, although Gio really hasn't been apparent in the fragging department, he's been helping his team with those rotations, using the skeleton key to his full advantage. He's been able to cut off rotations from the defenders. And Joe just have, honestly, some of the best games, or this is some of the best play that I've seen come out from Joe in such a long time. This is probably the best that I've seen them play ever. So they're putting a really huge statement here against PogChamp, who have their backs against the wall. One more round, and it'll come into the hands of PogChamp. Filthy still trying to work around that's Prod. Still trying to work around these track stingers, but Wimpy again getting the opening pick onto Filthy. There goes your pulse. That's a massive pick. That's a lot of intel off the board. And your only intel is going to come from default cams, Maestro Evil Eyes, and Trippin's bulletproof cam on those yellow stairs.
When you're playing with a pulse and you also have another C4, Trippin actually gets a headshot. Chala answers it as well as Gio goes down, and that leaves us with a 4v3, so definitely things have gone back in the hands of PogChamp a little bit. And as we can see, Prod here is waiting, but he's going to rush out actually. No, it's Chala who gets taken down. Wimpy with the second kill on the board for him. But as I was saying earlier, when you have a pulse as well as another operator with a C4, which is super common nowadays since people run Mute Mozzie Vigil a lot, you have this, in this case, this C4 on Mozzie. I want to see Filthy and Prod play together a little bit more and make use of that synergy they have, where instead of only having one C4 that you have to put away your heartbeat sensor, you can just ping it for your teammate. And on top of that, you can also be sort of a roam duo, where if one person gets taken out, the other one can refrag.
Right, it's a bit tough to do that in this round specifically because Filthy was the opening death, and Prod will also fall as well, so you have no C4s to work with for the rest of this round. 45 seconds remain, Joe have the advantage, tripping over by benches, and you have Ghost currently sitting inside a piano on the black tarp. He'll get compromised now, but Tripping have to rotate around back over to lobby. Fortunately for him, no one is watching outside the front door to cut off his rotation. Right now you have the Thermite of Clicks rotate outside over on the ledges, and then Wimpy trying so hard desperately to not get fragged. There goes Ghost and Tripping, able to find frags himself, but can the Thermite in the Gridlock here from Wimpy find the next two picks to win out this round, running low on time here. 15 seconds remain as Wimpy starts to progress his way from the spiral staircase into the lobby door.
10 seconds to go.
They get compromised now, I believe, by a default cam. The plant's going to start to come out. Trippin hears it.
5 seconds remaining.
Wimpy not getting scared or faded. Here comes Trippin right around the corner. Wimpy trying to find the frag, but he won't be able to do so, and Trippin's there to save the day. PogChamp will live through for at least one more round. We will go into a 6-3 scoreline, perfectly mirroring how it was back on E-Part.
Defenders win.
Yeah, we saw a 6-3, and then after that, Joe Esports was able to win the next round. And we'll see if they can do it here as well, as they go for their next defense, which I think this means that Garage Cafeteria is back open for them, because that's the first site they defended, and it's been 2 sites since then. Yep, they're going back to Garage Cafeteria, and this is a very easy site for most teams to defend, and so far, at this point, PogChamp might be able to take the next win. Actually, no, they didn't win the first defense, so the Garage Cafeteria was open to them this entire time. Just disregard that.
We got a 6 pick coming out. Gio switching away from the Glass into the Buck. No banana operators to come out here for Mr. Gio is epic. And the lineup really not changing a whole lot from either side of these two teams outside of a couple from the defenders. And we'll be heading into Garage for potentially our last bomb site. And the last time that it came down here really didn't go all that well for PogChamp, although They started off pretty decently, burning off 2 minutes, and then they just could not find any answer working through. And it's really interesting to me that there is no Goyo being played, and the Mute Mozzie meta isn't in play here. They're just using the Mozzie to deny those drones and those intel, but they are bringing Jaeger and Wamai to burn off those projectiles being tossed in from the attacking squad of Joe. You got 2 smokes with Wimpy, 3 flashes on each Rethinking and Clicks, as well as 2 nades coming out from Geo. But with the Thatcher on the board, those gadgets are possibly going to be rendered useless. And Wimpy, 14-4. My goodness, man, what a day! What a debut for your CL start in season 11, my friend.
And there's still no hard breach deny, so this garage wall is going to get opened pretty easily. At some point, I would have wanted to see a Kaid on this site, but it seems like neither team is really putting too much emphasis on that. One of the strong points about Kaid is that his Electro Claws are far, far smaller and can be tossed pretty much anywhere around the reinforced walls, whereas Bandits, you have to put at the foot of them, and they're very obvious to see. And the advantage that that gives for a Kaid player is that you can hide them in places where even if one of the attackers were to go into piano, there's a good chance that even if they break open the floor, they might not be able to see exactly where those electric claws are. Of course, when there is a Thatcher on the board, that does make it significantly harder, but you can still play around the Kaid tricks there.
Yeah, for the time being, 1 Wamai and 1 Jaeger ADS are going to be burned out. For now, Filthy's going to get compromised on those yellow stairs as he starts to rotate up to the 2nd floor. Mirror coming out from Trippin, going to be able to take care of that drone, but my goodness, Chala taking care of Wimpy, the all-star player from Joe. We'll have to sit down and rethink how he wants to keep that angle next time he goes against Chala. This could be the saving grace here for PogChamp and give them this round, because Wimpy has been so vocal here for his team, but you still have Clicks on the board. Despite being on support, he's been very dominant here against PogChamp. Now Geo up above will start to create a lot of pressure onto the bomb site, having to be aware. But there goes Filthy dropping down from the piano hatch, and there goes Ghost and Filthy as well with another pick, all on Ollie. But a flawless round here from PogChamp, winning out round number 10, and they are not done yet, ladies and gentlemen. Wimpy off the board, Dominoes follow suit, and PogChamp will survive for another round.
6-4. We're definitely seeing a potential overtime here on the side of PogChamp here, as they have been able to force the last 2 rounds in a row, taking the fight to Joe Esports. But of course, Joe just need to win 1 out of the next 2 in order to secure the victory. Otherwise, we will be seeing extra rounds. But as we head to console office and meeting room, we see a pretty standard operator setup, but Filthy actually thinking about, nope, he's going to switch right back to Mozzie. He's staying on that, so more information denial, and honestly right now Mozzie is definitely one of the stronger ops in the game. Between the amount of utility he has in terms of drone denial, drone capture, so even if he doesn't necessarily capture a drone, the fact that the big flashing, hey, your drone's about to get captured sign at the bottom of your screen can scare attackers off from driving their drones into contested areas. And so he's got denial, he's got information himself, and he's also got a super shorty secondary, so he can make rotation holes too. There's honestly not much reason not to bring a Mozzie in this current meta.
I'm a bit surprised as to why we're not seeing a mute be played out here. You could probably trade it out for the smoke potentially, but the smoke is very great at creating area denial against attackers. And I understand why they're wanting to bring Trip in, because Echo obviously is banned, but you also want to bring some information with the bulletproof camera, which is a lack of information, which is what Echo brings when he's on the board. So maybe it's just something that PogChamp can probably look around to bring out. But maybe they just need to change something in their lineup. I do like that Prod and Filthy do play together with this Pulse Mozzie combo, the C4 in hand. Right now, Geo's going to be repelled outside a connector window, trying to see if he can toss up a drone, but that's going to be a failed drone toss to come out from Clicks, unfortunately.
Happens to everyone. Yeah, so unfortunately, that drone will kill a little bit more time, but overall not much. Rethinking, actually able to get a pick. And that is on Trippin as well, so the dock goes down immediately.
That's super impressive, because for one, Filthy ping, you saw Filthy ping off out the window. But I guess
Yeah.
Trippin might have looked up and rethinking just on the bottom portion of those bars, easily able to dispatch of the dock. But is Geo ready here? No, Ghost is ready. There, down goes Geo. He's died every single round in this map. Bit of a tough start for Geo, but doesn't really matter if Joe is able to win out this round. But you have taken care of the dock. That's a lot that your set of nades being taken off the board. The pulse down below easily, potentially, going to possibly get this pick here. Oh, it does. There goes Clicks. There's your Thermite, but hopefully he's been able to use his utility. And now the pulse is going to follow off, I believe, which is Wimpy rotating around, if not Ollie, sitting inside of admin. It's going to be Ollie instead on the Thatcher. With a minute 20 remaining, this is not looking good here for Joe, but crazier things have happened in this series.
Yeah, and a 4v3 is definitely still in a comfortable range for the team with a man down to win. It's when you get down to 3v2 or even 2v1 where things start getting a little scarier, but right now they still have ample amount of team members to hold angles, and they also still have 2 smoke grenades from Wimpy, so they can cut off rotations if they want or go for decent plants. But oh, a run out here. Not going to confirm the kill, but Ghost gets one. He gets a second one too. Wimpy goes down, and now 3 of them closing in onto Rethink, and Chala's the one who gets the kill, and PogChamp continue to run it back. They're about to tie it up, and now we're at 5-6.
PogChamp definitely having a fire lit under them, and we are pushed to the brink of regulation here, ladies and gentlemen. 6-5 in favor of Joe, losing 2 rounds in a row, and if PogChamp are able to win this round here, we'll obviously go into a draw, but obviously Joe really don't want to hang around this game any longer and lose this next round. We'll be going into lobby for our final round of Consulate here, our final round between these 2 teams. Right now, PogChamp have a lot of momentum on their side. They've won 2 in a row. They've got a lot of motivation and fire and hunger, willing to win. And they obviously don't want to go down in day 1 0-2.
Yeah, that's definitely not a good start for them, but I think for the most part that goes more into the credit of Joe Esports than the detriment of PogChamp, because we've seen some beautiful plays from Joe, and I think even if PogChamp were to lose this next round and go 7-5 or 5-7 and 0-2 for today, I think they're still probably going to be looked at as one of the strongest teams here in CL. It's just that it would elevate Joe Esports to be in that upper echelon, maybe one of the top 3 teams here. And Wimpy's cooled down a bit. We mentioned he was at 14-4 a couple of rounds ago, and now he's at 14-6, so haven't been able to find any frags himself for a while, but hopefully he'll be able to regain his footing here on this round, as we're looking at a lobby piano defense, which is one that attackers can usually have more options going into. We'll see what they do if they go for the second floor roam clear first, or if they decide to do what's I think I've noticed more often in this map, is that teams have been putting more emphasis on the first floor when they attack this site, instead of going for a hard roam clear in the second floor.
So just to give you guys a little bit of an update, it's currently 7-2. It was a 7-2 victory for Life is Pain on their second map of Cafe. Geo getting a second pick here. That could be the round-winning frag here, as he's able to take care of Chala, who's been very dominant here for PogChamp. That's one of your top performers from the defending squad. And now you have to go through 4 more. And Joe getting the opening pick. When they've gotten the opening pick, they've managed to win the round, I think, every single time. And more often than not, when they've lost someone in the opening, as the opening death, they've still managed to win the round out. But the way PogChamp have been playing these last 2 rounds, anything could happen. This is anybody's round, which could lead into anyone's game. But now, we got Filthy still rotating in between the spiral staircase and trying to make his way possibly back in sight, seeing if he can peek over into lobby. Just trying to keep watch on the lobby side of things. And the Barbar is going to be broken off by Trippin, so that way if he moves on those stairs and there's an enemy on top of those yellow stairs, he won't be heard and he won't give away his position, even though he's already a 3 armor. But Prod trying to give information to Filthy with the pulse down below, and with no IQ being displayed here, this could be really tough here for Joe, depending on how Prod works around with his pulse and feeds the information into his teammates.
Yeah, so we see a bit of a dual-sided take here, as Clicks actually goes straight for the plant, but they're holding the angle. Trippin goes down. Ghost tries to peek around the corner. He gets Ollie, but is unable to stop the plant so far. However, Clicks will pull off of it as Filthy takes out Geo, but Geo actually with a post-mortem frag grenade there, taking out Filthy in retribution. Rethinking's going to take out Ghost, and Joe Esports now, in dominant fashion, are about to close out this round. We only have Prod left. Now, he is a Pulse, so he's going to have more information than the attackers. But is he going to be able to use it is the question. Now, the attackers definitely need to flush him out if anything were to happen, because this is what he can do. He can just shoot right through the floor, and no one's going to be able to see him do it.
This is really tough for Prod, but he gets taken down by Rethinking. Down goes Prod, and Joe saving the map here, 7-5. Rethinking rotating from the spiral staircase. The Indian godly John Gupta saving the round there. What a performance from Joe Esports, and especially coming out from Wimpy. My goodness, man, what a debut for Joe Esports, rising up 6 points in day 1 of North American Challenger League season